Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 13th of February, now it's almost 3 o'clock, middle of the day, Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my channel in which I share latest updates on the news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There is plenty of very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. But before I start, let me ask you, if I may, to hit that like button if you find my videos interesting. Leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. That will greatly increase my chances to reach wide audience, and I will be very grateful for this help. That being said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with Ukraine and special military operation. And we have TASS news agency, which is reporting that Russian Defense Ministry officially confirmed that Krasnaya Gora in north of Bakhmut is now under full control of Russian armed forces. Let me show you on the map this area. I did report about this yesterday, but as you know, Russian Defense Ministry usually takes some time to acknowledge certain developments on the front line. So even though this map, this pro-Ukrainian map, usually are deleting updates, pro-Russian updates, let's say. Even here we can see that Krasnaya Gora is under Russian control. Next step in this area probably will be this settlement, Paraskovievka, and even yesterday we already know that forward units of Wagner PMC are entering this settlement, and now fierce fighting is going on here to establish control over this village too. When it comes to Bakhmut, we did have reports this morning that Russian side did manage to establish some new positions inside the city, but overall, Bakhmut is still under Ukrainian control. Most of the territory of this city is still under Ukrainian control, but as I mentioned yesterday, situation for Bakhmut garnison, as well as the garnison in Chesov Yar, becoming quite desperate because even Ukrainian military leaders did start talking about possible encirclement of those units that are stationed in these towns. And yesterday we had information that weather in this week will be quite warm in this area, which means that even if garnison of Bakhmut will receive order to retreat, they will have hard time to do so with at least with the equipment, with the heavy machinery, because highways are under Russian fire control, and they will have a big casualties if they try to move their heavy equipment through highways and roads. And if they try to flee with through these fields here, they will stuck there, most definitely. I mean, tanks and armored personal carriers will just did not cross these fields. They will be stuck. So that's it, really. I mean, situation is basically day by day becoming more desperate for Ukrainian side. But for now, at least, I don't see any signs that Zelensky's regime is preparing withdrawal of its forces from this area. So probably in the end we will see full encirclement of Bakhmut and maybe even Chesov Yar. We may see some pincer movement here, and both these towns may end up in operational or in full encirclement. When it comes to Seversk, some artillery duels are here going on, but for now, at least, I don't have information about successful offensive operations from any side. When in Donetsk direction, hot point still Marinka here, but yet again, no big movements in this area from any side. Russian forces do try to establish full control over the Marinka, but for now, at least, some Ukrainian forces still controlling small part of this settlement here. In Ugledar direction, we did know that Ukrainian forces did have some success, and some Russian offensive operations were repealed. And I would not be surprised if near future we will see that some high-ranking officers of this group of forces will be sacked from military, because some offensive operations were conducted quite poorly, to be honest, and Russian side did take heavy losses in manpower and equipment. And we will probably see reaction from defense ministry and general staff. But yet again, time will tell. As you know, talks are not stopping about expecting Russian large-scale offensive operations, and some are saying that this operation will start in direction of Sumy, which is here. Some are saying that recent activization of Russian side in Kharkov region is a sign that Russian side will attack in Kharkov direction. But to be honest, right now I'm not really sure that we will see any Russian offensive whatsoever. Not in the winter time, and it's only a few weeks left before winter is end, and maybe not even in the spring. And Russian forces that are located in this area may prepare ground for defensive operations, basically. But yet again, only time will tell. Let's continue now, and we have here statement from Russian Secret Service SVR, which is Russian intelligence service, and SVR is stating that according to reliable information that they are receiving, U.S. military is actively recruiting jihadists that are affiliated with terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al Qaeda, to send them in Russia and former Soviet republics to conduct terroristic attacks. According to SVR, Russian intelligence service, U.S. militaries already are training 60 terrorists in a base in Syria, at Tanf base in Syria, and they are planning to send those jihadists in Russia and in former Soviet republics in Middle Asia. That's how we say it. To conduct the terrorist attacks on militaries, on diplomats, and other officials. I mean, what can I say? Man? Do I have a reason to not believe this information? No. Intelligence services probably, not throwing away these kind of statements for no reason. And after all, U.S. Conducts itself like terroristic group. They did attack Nord Stream pipeline, for example, and that was not just act of war, but that was act of terrorism, in my understanding. And I'm not surprised that they are now recruiting Al Qaeda affiliates and ISIS affiliates to send them in Russia for some terror and try to somehow destabilize Russia and Russian allies. So what will be Moscow's response? I don't know, but this is very significant in my opinion. Very significant. This military base is now, if this information is true, and as I said, I have no reason to not believe to statement of Russian intelligence, then this base at TAF is a legitimate target for Russian armed forces, because those terrorists should be dealt with before they are still in Syria. So let's continue. We have TASS news agency here, which is reporting a statement that was made by press speaker of Russian president. And Dmitry Peskov stated that he did not have any data, any information about possible new wave of mobilization in Russia. This topic of second wave of mobilization is quite active in Russia, and time to time Russian officials are asked about possibility of second wave of mobilization, and for now at least no one is saying that there will be mobilization, but in my understanding Kremlin probably are preparing another wave mobilization, because to conduct large-scale offensive operations, Russian armed forces probably do need more manpower. And I would not be surprised if in near future we will see mobilization in Russia, and I believe maybe 500,000 reservists or maybe even million reservists can be called. So yet again, that's my impression, but I may be wrong. Who knows, man? But I definitely would not be surprised if we see large-scale mobilization in Russia. Here, RBK news agency is reporting that Kadyrov, head of Chechen Republic, it stated that the Russian side should establish control over the Kharkov and Odessa, and it's necessary to secure Russian territory. And as you know, United States and United Kingdom did make decision to send long-range missiles to Zelensky's regime, and many Russian officials now are saying that this development forces Russia to move forward and establish some kind of buffer zone between Russian border and territories that are still controlled by Zelensky's regime. And as I said many times in previous videos, I believe that after this conflict in Ukraine will end, Russian side will probably have full control over the entire eastern and south parts of Ukraine, from Kharkov to Odessa. It seems logical to me, because these areas, predominantly are living Russian speaker Russian speakers. And I believe Moscow probably have some plans to establish control over these territories, from Kharkov to Odessa and even further towards Transnistria, so that Russia will have a land bridge to Transnistria region. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. But I'm quite sure Russian side will take entire southeast parts of Ukraine to establish a buffer zone and to liberate people that are live there from Zelensky's Nazi regime. Same time, I'm quite sure Poland will try at least to establish control over the western parts, over the some western parts of Ukraine, and Hungary will do the same in Transcarpathia region where ethnic Hungarians are living. And even Romania may establish control over the some territories of modern Ukraine. And if that's happened, then to be honest, we may see that from modern Ukraine, what will be left is just Kiev and a few regions around it. And that's only if Russia don't have any plans about Kiev itself. And yet again, Kremlin is not sharing with me information about their plans. So time will tell. But you can see that Russian officials are openly now saying that Russia should establish control on the entire south and east parts of Ukraine, from Kharkov to Odessa. And I did spoke about this topic many times before, that I was expecting Russian side to try establishing control over these territories. And we are seeing that more and more Russian officials are now saying exactly the same. Let's continue. This is quite interesting news. TASS news agency is reporting that U.S. embassy in Russia, urging U.S. citizens to leave Russia immediately. At the same time, according to this information, U.S. embassy is recommending to all U.S. citizens to not travel to Russia. That's interesting in terms that maybe something is, maybe some big escalation is coming between U.S. and Russia, and probably that's why this kind of statement is made. Maybe U.S. Secret Services already sent some terrorists inside Russia, and maybe they, maybe diplomats, U.S. diplomats know that there will be some terroristic activity inside Russia, or maybe U.S. Secret Services prepare Ukrainian forces to conduct some terroristic activity in Russian territory. But for no reason, these kind of statements will not be made by U.S. embassy. That's obvious. So some big escalation is probably are planned, and in near future we will see what Americans are planning, what U.S. elites are planning. Let's continue. This is Kommersant News agency and Kommersant newspaper, and we have a news article here which is based on information of the Times that Defense Ministry of UK asking budget rise about 20% for defense forces, and I'm not surprised really, because this conflict was provoked in Ukraine, was one of the reasons that that Western elite provoked this conflict in Ukraine, was to force NATO member states to spend more taxpayers' money on defense industries and on defense in general. And we are seeing this kind of information from many NATO member states. Some of them even doubling their spendings on military. So not really big surprise. Let's continue. This is quite strange news also. NORAD, which is a command of U.S. Air Forces, as I understand, U.S. Air Defense Forces. Head of NORAD, Glenn Van Herk, did not dismiss possibility that recent activization of some unidentified flying objects over the northern America could be some alien technology. I don't think this person is truly believes in this, but when he was asked to comment on possibility that those unidentified flying objects are definitely not alien, he said that he cannot say that, it's definitely not. So it must be little chance that they are alien, but of course this is just kind of joke, because there's no way those balloons or whatever they are gonna be alien technology. So let's continue. We have RIA Novosti here with the news that Chinese Foreign Ministry accused USA of actively using their own intelligence aerostats or balloons to conduct intelligence information over the China. And we have information here that since beginning of this year, US aerostats crossed Chinese border more than 10 times, which is quite surprising to me. I did not know that those balloons are so actively used, to be honest, for any purposes. I mean, intelligence or scientific or whatever. But we are learning now that, those air balloons are frequently used for many different purposes. And Chinese Foreign Ministry is recommending US to act appropriately, and first of all, change its behavior before accusing some other countries of some provocative actions. Let's continue, and this information gonna be the last one. Today's video probably will be a little bit shorter, which is good. As you know, I did already made a video today, and I already uploaded that video, and I spoke about myself in that video and my plans about near future, about channel, and if you are interested, you can check previous video. And this one is like second video for today, and this news gonna be last news for this update. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian hackers did hack internet site of US base in Ramstein in Germany, and RIA Novosti checked this information and confirming that site of Ramstein, for the moment when this information was published, was not working. And what kind of data Russian hackers managed to receive by this hack unknown. But it's quite interesting that hackers are active in this conflict between Russia and West. Hackers are playing their part too, even though not really in a big way, because this is let's be honest, man. This is nothing really. I mean, some kind of site for some irrelevant base. One may say this base is not irrelevant, and U.S. keeps its nuclear arsenal there, which is maybe true or maybe not. There's no way to know that. And this base is probably biggest U.S. base in Europe. But after all, hackers may do much greater damage if they are ordered to do so than hacking of some site. And for now, yes, there is hacker activity, but for now at least, it's in no. This activity is no in high intensity. But we may see, high intensity fight in internet too, and then we may see much greater damage to entire economies than some kind of site, some kind of damage to the site. This is it for now. I hope you find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. Let's have a conversation. As you can see in comment sections, I'm quite active, and I try to react on all comments that I see. Sometimes I just don't see a comment, and I'm sorry to if I did not react it, but I do try to react on everyone, and I'm engaged in conversations too, so you're welcome. And please, if you can, share links to my videos or my channel on with your friends on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. That will also greatly increase my chances to reach wider audience, and I will be very grateful for this help. This is it for now. Have a nice day and take care.